Okay, something a little bit different for you today. I thought you might like to look at my programs from my first concerts from the time when we used to go back in my home city of Glasgow, the Glasgow Apollo. It really was a rite of passage, and it was your first break away from home, going out for yourself with your boy, your mates, and your girlfriends, and great nights we had in there. Fantastic nights. I've got some other bits and pieces to go with it. I'll show you some relative vinyl, some DVDs, ticket stubs, and all sorts of bits and pieces relating to it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them one side, and then I'm going to go through them bit by bit for you. Alright? But before I start, really, my first concert was Saxon on the 18th of October 1981. And I was only 14 then, just a bit ago, turned 15, and I didn't have an awful lot of money. And I don't think I could afford a programme or a t-shirt. All I had was enough money to get myself into the concert. And all I've got is my ticket stub. But I managed to hold on to that, and that's part of my memory. And that's something worthwhile. My first concert. Of course, it was a time of the Friday Night Rock Show with Tommy Vance here in the UK, and we were listening to the new wave of British heavy metal, and one of the bands that caught my ear was Saxon, and the main albums at the time were Strong Arm of the Law and Wheels of Steel. Crusader came a little bit later on, but these two albums, they really caught me, and was what made me go to there as my first concert. And a good time was had, as I say. Now, there are some great pieces relating to the Glasgow Apollo that you can get. There's this great book, Apollo Memories by Martin Keelty. Wonderful book, full of lots of anecdotes and stories from staff that worked there, bands, members, memories of it, fans, the concert goers, and the bouncers. And we all remember the bouncers there. They could be a nightmare. But all sorts of stories and the history of the Glasgow Apollo to its very demise and end. It's also at the back, which is really good. It's got the listings of all the bands and all the support acts and all the dates that they played. So it's a great reference. It has been updated since there's a newer version of this available, and if you search around the usual main big shopping online sites, or just put it in a Google, it will turn up and you can get a hold of it. But a really interesting and sometimes quite funny read of especially relating to certain rock stars who were, one in particular who was dragged out of his car drunk and left 2 lines with his feet dragged along the floor, and was what shall I say, encouraged to get on stage and get on with it, basically. And there's a few stories like that in there, some craziness. Okay, there's also a great DVD, The Final Countdown, the story of the Glasgow Apollo. It's narrated by Claire Grogan, and there's lots of interviews and memories in there of people who worked around it, and people who played there. Nice little package. I didn't know when I bought it. It came with all this. It came with a badge, a copy of a backstage pass. No laminates then, but it also, the great thing was, it came with some replica tickets from the days of the Glasgow Apollo. The full ticket. Girls' School, 22nd of April 1981. and Motorhead, 19th of June 1983. So it's a nice little package if you can find it. I don't know if it's still available, but have a look round, see what you can get. You might be lucky. As I say, also we did listen to the Friday Night Rock show, but up here in Scotland we had Tom Russell's rock show. I think the BBC one went from 10 to midnight on a Friday, and Tom Russell's went from midnight to 2 in the morning. And he was our man in Scotland with all the info and all the gigs and tickets. And again, all sorts of music and metal, and especially at that time, the new wave of British heavy metal. So we had quite a good night on a Friday night. If you had no money, you could sit in and listen to some great music for 4 hours, and that was fantastic. So my actual first concert with a programme that I've got was Gillan. So Saxon was first concert, Gillan was my second concert, but it's the only one I've actually got everything from it. It was on a Double Trouble tour. I've still got my ticket. It was Tuesday the 10th of November 1981, and I was quite a big fan of Gillan at the time. I liked Deep Purple, but I really enjoyed Gillan's solo stuff at this era of his solo. I mean, the concerts, they were quite wild actually. It was it could be quite a bit manic, a bit wild, and great fun, and very different from what he did in his Purple days. So we had John McCoy on bass, we had Yannick Gers, Ian Gillan, Colin Towns on keyboards, Mick Underwood on drums, and they worked really, really well together. And they were supported by this great band, Budgie, and they really blew me away. They were as good on the night to me as Gillan. Alright, they had the shorter set, but sometimes you get support bands and you're a little bit meh about them, you know, not too bothered. But Budgie were really good. And Nightwing, I don't remember much about Nightwing, but that was the other support band on the night. As I say, it was the Double Trouble tour. Of course, this led me on. It was all part of getting my first albums. There was Glory Road, and the great one, Mr. Universe. I picked up some Colin Towns, the keyboard player's solo stuff, and lately I picked up Future Shock and this special hardback edition by a company which was vinyl180.com. I've had a look and I think they're gone now. They turned it into a double album, playing at 45 RPM, and all the artwork that was included in the original gatefold has been made into a proper book format, and it's a really, really nice package. Really hard to find now, but if you're lucky you might get hold of it. They did do one for Double Trouble and I can't find it now. It's gone. I've missed my opportunity, but I'll keep my eyes open. The guy who done the artwork on Future Shock, I believe he went to do some of the artwork for, or was involved in the design teams of Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner. I could be wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong, but there was some great artwork. and great imagery. As I say, also I did get into Budgie, and I went and bought my first Budgie album, which was Power Supply. Now I know a lot of people prefer the earlier stuff, but this was my first venture into it, and I really enjoyed this album. It's past its best, but I've still kept hold of the album. And the other person I got into through Future Shock was the guitarist who passed away a few years ago, Bernie Tormey. Bernie Tormey, Electric Gypsies, and this is a great album, and I still play it today. Wonderful guitarist, and sadly missed. Next up, and I'm going to put them both out at the same time to save showing you two separate ones, so I can show the records on at the same time. I went to see Toya twice, and at this stage she was coming more commercial and less punky. But I remember the night I went to the concert, and I think it was this concert here, because there's a recording of it, her making a comment to the crowd that, you know, the old punks in there, they could still hit her with some spit from down below. If you don't know, the Glasgow Apollo stage was right raised up, because it was an old cinema house, and hard to explain. It was a high stage, much higher than normal, and they could still get her from there. Let's have a look through the programme. So it was Toya, 19th of December 1981. It's a Christmas concert. I did manage to get her autograph. We used to hang outside and wait for the people to come out if we were lucky, and she stopped her car near the Glasgow Apollo, got out and handed out some autographs, and for the life of me I cannot get my hands on it, and I saw it a couple of months ago, so I'm not able to show it to you, but I did get her autograph. She was really a bit ahead of her time, really. I think she would have and Fad Gadget was in support. I think if she'd been around now, I think she is you know, a main artist now. She's still going, and she's still releasing records, and she's still got a huge fan base. But I think if she started nowadays, I think she would have done really well, because she was great with the whole image that she portrayed, and incredible makeup and styles. And the second one I saw two times in a row, was the Changeling Tour, and this was 8th of July 1982. So a nice summer concert it was. But she was really good. I really enjoyed her shows. She was very entertaining, and the fans, they loved her. I do have some albums. It's wonderful makeup. It was great, a great look that she brought together. I do have some albums from the time. About Toya live concert. I had The Blue Meaning and Sheep Farming in Barnet. They were quite good albums. I used to listen to quite a lot at the time, but I haven't listened for a long time. But what I did get was the Anthem picture disc, and this is one of my favourite picture discs. It really was great art put onto a picture disc, and I've really prized it ever since. It's just a a great piece of memorabilia. But I must say, they talk about sound quality in picture discs, and this was awful. Really, just awful. Really, really bad. And it's in excellent condition because I only ever played it a couple of times. But as I say, everything you hear about picture discs, it's on here. But it's a wonderful piece to look at and a great memory to keep. So next up, my next concert was another Gillan concert, and this was on the Magic Tour, and I managed to get some autographs on this one. We waited outside. It was on the 6th of November 1982. We waited outside in the lane that runs beside the Glasgow Apollo, the alleyway, and eventually they opened the door and they let the few of us that had stayed in, and we went back into the main seating area, and some of the band came out and signed some autographs for us. I'll show you who I managed to get. They're signed on the back of this. I did enjoy Gillan concerts. They were a little bit wild sometimes. They were in the Glasgow Apollo, let's put it that way. It was a bit of a wild crowd in there sometimes. I believe in this one, if I remember rightly, they put a call out for some local girls if they wanted to go on stage in a cage. I'm absolutely definite that happened. I enjoyed the band Spider. I enjoyed them so much, I bought a single. Talking about rock and roll, they were a good time boogie rock band, and the B-side was Down and Out, and they were just a good fun band. I went out and bought a single. Why not? And on the back, I managed to get some autographs. And of course, I got Colin Towns, keyboard player. I'm absolutely certain that's John McCoy, the bass player. And I know this is really, really hard to see, these autographs on the yellow background for you. But I got Yannick Gers. And of course, this was Gillan's last outing as a solo act for a few years, and Yannick Gers went on to join Iron Maiden, where he's been ever since. My next one was Thin Lizzy, and it was their last tour. It was their last album with before the passing of Phil, and this was a great night, and I do remember everything about this night, and it will always stay with me. There was a bit of trouble in the crowd, and Phil stopped the band and slowed the band down, and he was arguing with the bouncers, and who were giving some young people at the front a bit of a hard time. And some bigger guys from the back moved forward, and it's the first time I saw the bouncers at the Glasgow Apollo. They backed off and they got out the way. And a good time was had with all. But the most wonderful thing of this night, I waited outside. We waited for quite a while, and we were just about to give up hope, and they'd come out, got into the car. The car was coming on, and they stopped. They stopped the car, and I'm sure John Sykes was sitting in the back seat beside Phil, and we ran over, and he was asking us if we had a good night and how we were all doing, and he was really fantastic to all of us. And I put my program in, and he took it, and he signed it, and I've prized this forever. It was one of the most wonderful moments I can remember when I was young. I was so chuffed when I got home that I'd managed to get his autograph on his actual picture. John Sykes. It was John Sykes, previously of Tigers of Pantang, who also went on to Whitesnake. Scott Gorham, Brian Downey, Dan Wharton. This did actually have a poster in the middle that went up on my wall, and I've long lost it. It's long gone. I did have the ticket. I lost my ticket stub. It was badly chewed up, and I tried to fix it, and I'm sure I've put it somewhere to press it and flatten it out, and I cannot find it. It will turn up one day, but for the moment it's lost, and I'm really gutted about that. Because also on the day was Mama's Boys, and they were really good. I really enjoyed Mama's Boys, and I went and bought an album of theirs as well. I did have the Thunder and Lightning album, but as I say, I moved into dodgy bedsit land. There was lots of crazy parties and wildness going on, and lots of things used to just go missing, and that was one of the things that went missing, was that album. But I do have some vinyl still. I've got Johnny the Fox and Black Rose, two fantastic albums in their own rights as well. As I say, Mama's Boys was supporting them, and I went out and got this album by Mama's Boys, and really enjoyed them. I believe they were from Northern Ireland. I could be wrong. I believe they were from Northern Ireland. And John Sykes, well, I had to check out more of the Tigers Pantang. I had heard them on the Friday Night Rock show, and I went and got this album, Crazy Nights. This one comes with the extra 12-inch single with it, as well as the album, and that was a great album. And then this one came out, and I bought this, and I was really disappointed. This one I didn't get along with at all, but maybe I should go back and give it another listen, and I might enjoy it a bit more now. There was some good tracks on there, but I just didn't enjoy the album like I thought, I'd enjoyed the other ones. Next up was Motorhead. That was a great concert. My ears rang for days after that. That was the 18th of June 1983. It really was loud, and that was my first time seeing Motorhead and a wonderful Lemmy. A good night was had by all, but people who didn't get in told me they were standing outside and they couldn't believe how loud it was. And of course, there's only one album you have to buy, the iconic Ace of Spades. Well, I've got some other stuff, but this one I bought at the time, and I've had for many, many years. Next up was Whitesnake. I say, but this time John Sykes had joined them, and this was a great night as well. It was the 21st of December 1983, and it was a Slide It In tour, and I remember going to this very well. It was a great night. See John Sykes. Actually, I've just remembered now. It does say 21st of December, but someone had injured themselves and it wasn't actually done. The concert wasn't actually to the first part of the next year. So if you do check this up, you'll notice the date's wrong on the ticket compared to when the actual concert took place. It was recorded by Radio Clyde, and I did have it on a cassette for quite a while, for many years, and then Whitesnake brought out this anniversary box set, and lo and behold, inside was Live in Glasgow 1984, and that was the concert I went to. So it was wonderful to have it all in CD, all polished up, really nice, and you can listen to it properly. But yeah, I remember the pyros going off and the heat. It was a real great night. We all pulled back. And my last one at the Glasgow Apollo was Marillion, and it was on the 17th of February 1984, and that was my last venture into the Glasgow Apollo. Not long after that, 85, I moved down here to England. I've got a vague memory of this concert. There'd been a floating piece of jigsaw held, with cables and fish interacting with it and all that, and he's got his timing wrong, and it came and it smacked right into him. But I don't know if that was this one, or they played the Pavilion. My friend tells me we went to see them at the Pavilion, and I was involved with some sort of dodgy photocopier, and I don't remember it, but he says that is the case, and that I was, because I bought some albums at the time. The 12-inch single, Market Square Heroes, and later on I picked up Misplayed Childhood. That's about it. I do have a few more albums to show you. I forgot to show you the my Whitesnake collection. That's the original Slide It In album, and there was some more Whitesnake albums that I bought at the time. I loved this album, thought it was a great album. This one, not so much, and I loved this album. I thought this album was great, and I loved the artwork on it as well. And supporting them that night was Great White, and it got me into Great White. But there were great times at the Glasgow Apollo. I don't think there'll ever be a venue quite like it. Everyone's got their local venues that hold special memories to them, but the Glasgow Apollo was quite unique. As you know well, AC/DC recorded quite a bit there that went on one of their albums, and there's some videos you can see of them playing at the Glasgow Apollo. But that was home territory. Don't ever let anyone tell you they're Australian. Angus is a Glasgow boy, and Malcolm was a Glasgow boy. Okay, so hope you enjoyed looking at this room with me. All the best for now. Take care, and I hope to see you again. All the best for now. Take care. See ya. Bye.